Yeah, I've been over to Baltimore sometimes. I've got surgery now, so. How are you, Mr. Robson?
Call the Kent County Levy Court business meeting of Tuesday, January 26th to order. We're at the Kent County Administrative Complex, 555 Bay Road, Dover, Delaware. And before we start, we'll have the county administrator review the rules for the people that are online or on the phone.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a few basic rules. Tonight's meeting, although it's in person here at the 555 Bay Road facility, we have invited the public to join the meeting via conference line, and we may have members of the public on that conference line. And for their benefit, we want to let them know, number one, that this meeting is being recorded. It'll become part of the permanent record here of Levy Court proceedings. As such, All rules of procedure that have been adopted by Levy Court are in effect for business meeting purposes, including the Mason's Rules of Order for legislative bodies. And for anyone who may wish to speak, particularly those that are joining us on the conference line during the public hearings, we're going to need for you to first state your name and address for the record. And during the public hearing, at least, we will need to swear all speakers in, unless they happen to be attorneys at law, and the county attorney will handle that task at the appropriate time. Otherwise, we ask that you keep your phone muted during the proceedings so that we don't get background noise into the meeting here. And when there is an opportunity to provide public comment, we will prompt you and ask you to press *1 on your mobile device, and that will raise your electronic hand, and we'll be able to bring you into the meeting at that time. And so at this time, Mr. President, I'll turn the floor back to you to begin the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. This time we'll start off with the invocation by Commissioner Howe, Pledge of Allegiance, Commissioner Maston, a moment of silence to our troops and our first responders, Commissioner Sweeney. All right.
Heavenly Father, once again, we recognize your presence. Thank you for being here with us and ask your blessings on our proceedings tonight. And also just a special word for those in our county that are sick, particularly with COVID, those who are in the hospital, those who are not, and all the many diseases and ailments that people are suffering now. We just ask for you, the great physician, will just take care of them, and soon we'll be back to normal. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence to honor our military members, law enforcement officers, firefighters, paramedics, and other first responders who have lost their lives in the line of duty protecting and fighting for our freedoms. In addition to those listed here, we also honor those law enforcement, firefighters, EMTs, nurses, and doctors who have succumbed to COVID-19 virus complications contracted through close interaction with infected patients, losing their lives while caring for others. As of today, more than 421,000 Americans nationwide, 1,049 in Delaware, and 191 in Kent County have lost their lives to COVID. Please remember these individuals and their families in your thoughts and prayers as they deal with the loss of their loved ones. Army Staff Sergeant Anthony Bermudez from Dallas, Texas. Army Staff Sergeant Timothy Luke Manchester from Austin, Texas. Officer Jay Hughes from the Kalispell Tribal PD. Master Corporal Brian Roy Levine, Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office in Florida. Agent Luis A. Marrero Diaz from the Puerto Rico PD in Puerto Rico. Agent Luis A. Salomon Conde from the Carolina Municipal PD in Puerto Rico. Agent Elazar Hernandez Cartagena, Carolina Municipal PD in Puerto Rico. Police Officer Melton Fox Gore from the Horry County PD in South Carolina. Corporal Christine Peters, Greenbelt Police Department in Maryland. Police Officer Melton Fox Gore, I did that one. Deputy Sheriff Adam Gibson, Sacramento County Sheriff's Department in California. Police Officer Brandon Stalker from the Toledo Police Department in Ohio. K-9 Riley in the Sacramento County Sheriff's Department, California. And K-9 Figo from the Coleman County Sheriff's Department in Alabama. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Tanaka, can we have a roll call, please, to determine quorum?
Mr. Angel?
Present.
Mr. Buxton?
Present.
Mr. Hall? Where is he? Oh, Mr. Hall, absent. Mr. Howell,
Here.
Mrs. Maston,
Present.
Mr. Sweeney,
Here.
Mr. Pepper.
Here.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 6 present, 1 absent.
Thank you. We do have a quorum. Mr. Hall called earlier. He is out sick and he's staying home just to be cautious. Need a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
I'll make a motion, we adopt tonight's agenda.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Maston, second by Commissioner Angel. Have a roll call, please. Mr. Tanaka.
Yes. Mr. Angel,
Yes.
Mr. Buxton,
Yes.
Mr. Hall, absent. Mr. Howell,
Yes.
Mrs. Maston,
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney,
Yes.
Mr. Pepper.
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 6 yeas, 1 absent.
Thank you. Tonight's agenda has been adopted. Need a motion on the consent agenda 20-01.
So moved, Mr. President.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Angel, second by Commissioner Howe. Can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Angel,
Yes.
Mr. Buxton,
Yes.
Mr. Hall, absent. Mr. Howell,
Yes.
Mrs. Maston,
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney,
Yes.
Mr. Pepper.
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 6 yeas, 1 absent.
Thank you. The consent agenda 20-01 has been approved. Tonight we have some presentations. The first one is Resolution 3820, retirement of Dawn Marie Shane.
Whereas the retirement of Dawn Marie Shane, an employee of Kent County, State of Delaware, from her duties as Paramedic 3, Department of Public Safety, Emergency Medical Services Division, presents a suitable opportunity for expressing the esteem in which we hold Dawn Marie Shane as a good and faithful public servant. Therefore, be it resolved that the County of Kent expresses warmest appreciation and thanks to Dawn Marie Shane for the able and loyal manner in which she performed her public duties. Be it further resolved that this resolution be her evidence of a right to the pension provided by the Kent County Employees Retirement Program, and that this resolution be and hereby is incorporated into the official minutes of the January 26th, 2021, yes, I'm right, 2021 meeting of the Kent County Levy Court.
Thank you. This is a resolution. We need a motion.
Move to approve Resolution 3820.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Sweeney, second by Commissioner Maston. Can we have a roll call, please, on the resolution?
Mr. Angel,
Yes.
Mr. Buxton,
Yes.
Mr. Hall, absent. Mr. Howell,
Yes.
Mrs. Maston,
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney,
Yes.
Mr. Pepper.
I hate to see all the knowledge go out the door, but I guess she's decided she knows when it's time to go, so yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 6 yeas, 1 absent.
Thank you. Roll call reveals Resolution 3820 has been approved. Is Colin, she's out of uniform.
Don't ask her if she cares. So Don, I remember when you started about 30 years ago, and here we are 30 years later, and I will say it's bittersweet, and I say that because I hate to see you leave. You've literally been a top performer for us every step of the way, every single day. You've managed their power unit, which has been outstandingly managed over the past several years. And I know it wasn't always easy. Literally know it wasn't always easy. And I can also say that myself and the rest of the administration has appreciated your candid frankness about things. And it has helped us make decisions and sometimes change decisions around. So we appreciate all that. But in 30 years, you've done an awful lot of good for an awful lot of people. So that's a lot to be proud of. I hope you enjoy your retirement. I know you will. And just sorry to see you go, but congratulations to you. Would you like to? you like to make a comment?
I would just like to say it's been a year, and especially for everybody in our department. So just to say to them that I appreciate them. They do a great job out there. They should be appreciated, and just be safe because it's a roller coaster and it's not getting better. So good luck to y'all. My thoughts and prayers are with you.
Any commissioners like to have any parting comments? I believe Commissioner Maston has some words for you.
Congratulations, Dawn, on a job well done, and goodness knows your work has certainly been appreciated throughout the community. And I certainly can't go along with Gary's recommendation to cook every night, eat out every night.
Mr. President.
Commissioner Angel?
Yes, Don. First of all, I'm sorry to see you go. 29.2 years, that's a long time, and you're still young enough that if you decide to go for a part-time job, you can still come back and help us. Please. But whatever you decide to do it well like you've been doing, and I'm sure you will. And thank you for your service.
Thank you. Thank you again for your service. And like I said, I'm serious. I hate to see all that knowledge walk out the door because, it took you a while to obtain it, and you've used it, and we've appreciated it. Thank you, and best of luck.
Should I read the next resolution?
All right, next item is Resolution 3821, retirement of Ken Eckerd. Mr. Tanaka, can you read that, please?
Yes. Whereas the retirement of Kenneth Eckerd Jr., an employee of Kent County, State of Delaware, from his duties as Maintenance Worker 1, Department of Administration, Facilities Management Office, presents a suitable opportunity for expressing the esteem in which we hold Kenneth Eckerd Jr. as a good and faithful public servant. Therefore, be it resolved that the County of Kent express its warmest appreciation and thanks to Kenneth Eckerd Jr. for the able and loyal manner in which he performed his public duties. Be it further resolved that this resolution be his evidence of right to the pension provided by the Kent County Employees Retirement Program, and that this resolution be and hereby is incorporated into the official minutes of the January 26, 2021 meeting of the Kent County Levy Court.
Okay, this is a resolution also, so we need a motion on it.
So moved, Mr. President. Resolution 3821.
Second?
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Angel, second by Commissioner Maston. Mr. Tanaka, can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Buxton?
Yes.
Mr. Hall? Absent. Mr. Howell?
Yes. Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 6 yeas, 1 absent.
Thank you. Roll call reveals there are enough votes to approve Resolution 3821. And County Administrator, Mr. County Administrator, are you going to handle this?
Yes, Mr. Eckerd could not be with us tonight, but he's here with us to the end of the month, and I'll see that he gets this resolution. Thank you very much.
Be sure to thank him for all of us.
Absolutely.
Next item for the record is 2020 Employee of the Year. Can we have that read?
This is the Kent County Levy Court Certificate of Recognition to Chris Ann Miley On this, the 26th day of January 2021, the Levy Court of Kent County, State of Delaware, does hereby recognize Chris Ann Miley as the 2020 Kent County Employee of the Year. The prestigious award recognizes her outstanding dedication, skill, and hard work as an Accountant 3 in the Department of Finance on behalf of the citizens of Kent County.
Okay, and she's not here, is that correct?
No, she is here. She is here.
There she is, way back there. I believe.
Come on down.
This isn't the first time that she's been recommended for this, is it?
Susan, want to come on down? Chris Ann, my pleasure to be able to present to you publicly the resolution that Commissioner just acknowledged. And then a framed version of it is displayed proudly, and also a plaque commemorating your year as Employee of the Year. Congratulations. There's nothing but great things about you, Susan. Just last week we were talking about the effort that went into securing some of the CARES Act funds to refund or reimbursement of funds that the county, and Susan acknowledged you're in the background doing all the work, and it was a great benefit to us to have that expertise, our county prowess to be able to track all those expenses that we didn't anticipate. So thanks for that, and thanks for being our Employee of the Year. Congratulations. Thank you. And we also have a little gift for you, Tony, to load you up here. But you don't have to open it now, but it's just a little memento on behalf of
Alcohol. We all could use a drink, right? Well, I was really glad to see Chris Ann chosen by the group, I guess it was the Employee Council for this Employee of the Year. She's been a great asset to Kent County, a great asset to the Finance Department. Mike alluded to her work with the CARES Act, and we do a lot of performance punishment in my department, and the better you are, the more you get, and so therefore she gets a lot. And she always steps up and is there for us, and I just greatly appreciate it and really glad and honored to have her on our team.
I just want to say thank you. It really is an honor. I didn't expect to even be Employee of the Month, let alone Employee of the Year. So when my fellow coworkers found out through an email, and they started congratulating me because I didn't open my email yet, it was a great surprise, and so I just appreciate everything, and thank you.
Thank you. All right, great job. Next item is the Employee of the Month for February 2021.
Kent County Department heads have selected Brandon L. Olenek from the Department of Public Safety as the February 2021 Employee of the Month. Brandon has been a Kent County employee in his current role as Administrative Officer for the Emergency Management Division since January 2014. Prior to that, he served as a 911 dispatcher for 9 years, and along the way earned his associate's degree in Homeland Security and Emergency Management, and the Bachelor of Science degree in Public Safety Administration. His primary duties include assisting with planning the evacuation routes and providing shelter for persons during a natural or man-made disaster, preparing and administering grants in support of emergency services, Homeland Security programs, participating and assisting in emergency services drills and exercises, maintaining readiness of the Emergency Operations Center and related activities. In addition, Brendan serves as the county's safety officer responsible for safety inspections and investigating serious incidents resulting in injury, or loss, and making recommendations to prevent future claims. As such, he has been a valuable resource for Delaware Founders Insurance Trust's DFIT Safety Committee by organizing meetings and training sessions for the large group representing many local governments. According to Public Safety Director Colin Faulkner, with my attention focused recently on the pandemic response, Brandon has become an integral part of the vendor interface and update of the federally mandated All Hazards Mitigation Plan and Kent Emergency Operations Plan. He also plays a critical role in damage assessment for FEMA, often resulting in partial reimbursement for local disasters, such as the recent tornado spawned by Tropical Storm Isaias. He has consistently proven to be an invaluable asset to our public safety team. Congratulations, Brendan, on the job well done. And he resides in Commissioner Howell's and Pepper's districts. And the tribute reads, Kent County Levy Court, February 2021, Employee of the Month, Brandon L. Olenek. On this, the 26th day of January 2021, the Levy Court of Kent County, State of Delaware, does hereby recognize Brandon L. Olenek, Administrative Officer, Department of Public Safety, Emergency Management Division, for his exceptional initiative, dedication, and conscientiousness in the delivery of services to the citizenry of the county.
Thank you, Lori. And I do see Brandon back there. And Chief, you want to come up with Brandon?
Thank you, Commissioners, and I'll just say a few words about Brandon. Brandon came to our Emergency Management Division from the 911 Center. He was a dispatcher for many years and got a degree in emergency management, and was a likely progression for him. And typically our emergency management is low volume, high risk until last year when we were hit by COVID, a hurricane and a tornado, and a few other things. And my efforts were kind of focused in that direction, and we had major programs going on with consultants, and Brandon really just took, if you'll pardon the expression, the bull by the horns and just managed it very, very well. And even though we have a consultant, it's not quite that simple. There's a lot of work that goes back and forth between consultant and us in public safety, and he just harnessed that very well. And the grant work that he's done has been outstanding. And in addition to all of that, he's now the training and exercise coordinator for our department for the Homeland Security Working Group. And he's also one of our latest drone pilots. So he is energetic and motivated. And Brandon, you're well deserving of this recognition. This is just our way of letting you know we notice all the good work you do. Thank you. Brandon, you want?
Chief Faulkner, thank you for those kind words. I just want to thank you, department heads, Mike P., and the commissioners for the opportunity to serve Kent County. And I appreciate being nominated and accepted as the Employee of the Month. Thank you.
Congratulations. Any commissioner like to say a few words? Mr. Sweeney.
Brandon, congratulations. And I just heard a term that I had not heard before, but it fits. Apparently, Chief is practicing it in his department too, which is performance punishment. The more you do, the more you get. So that's you, sounds like to a T. Congratulations.
It was a very, thank you. It was a very busy 2020, and we're looking forward to another busy 2021, but
not like the last one, please.
Any other commissioners? Commissioner Howell.
Brandon, obviously your accomplishments are impressive. They have not gone unnoticed, as was this tribute was read, and we do appreciate your work, congratulate you, and hope you stay with us a long time.
Thank you, Commissioner Howell.
Any other commissioners? If not,
My honor to present this resolution that the commissioner just read to you. Signed by all commissioners. Congratulations. Always great to be honored by your fellow employees being selected, being recognized like this. One thing I'd like to say is we're members of the Delaware Founders Insurance Trust, which is our workers' comp insurance group. And it's a government purchasing pool for workers' compensation insurance. And a big emphasis of that is safety, employee safety, making sure you have a culture of safety, people are trained on safety. And you're an integral part of that. Every time I hear about the safety committee, your name comes up because you're such an integral part of that. And really appreciate the work effort that you put forward there, because it's not just Kent County benefits, it's all the municipalities that participate in Delaware in that program. So thanks again for promoting safety here, and keep up the great work.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate it. How are we going to do the perfect attendance tonight?
Alan's going to handle that.
I'm happy to say we have quite a few.
Yes, thank you, President Pepper. I think that's the first time I've had the honor of saying that for more than 20 years. So, as commissioners know, save Ms. Maston, typically you have a decent crowd of employees here. You hand out their certificates and a gift that they receive, and you recognize them all. We do a photo. But obviously, due to the pandemic, we're unable to do that this year. So we did not invite any of the employees to come and be recognized, although it is quite a number. 72 employees received perfect attendance. They came to work. They didn't use any sick leave in 2020. And you compare that to last year, which was 60. So that was quite a dramatic increase. And even if you look at the average number over the past few years, it's about 60, 57, 58. So it's quite an achievement for those 72 people. And we will tomorrow be distributing the gift that they received, which this year is a nice shopping bag, reusable shopping bag. Everybody needs that in Delaware now, along with a stadium blanket and a certificate, which I understand all of you have exhausted, probably have hand cramp from signing those 72 certificates. So that's what we're going to do tonight for the presentation, since we couldn't have anyone come here. Thank you, President Pepper.
Alan, am I not mistaken that certificate is equivalent to 1 day extra vacation, right?
Yes, it does. Each person who gets perfect attendance does get an extra day off during the month. So, all right.
Fantastic.
Thank you, and I'll just stay here for the next thing.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, that's over 30% of the employees.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes.
that's fantastic, especially the way it was this past year, 2021. So I see that we have a couple introductions tonight.
Yes, sir. So we do have 2 new employees introduced to the commissioners, and that honor goes to Director of Community Services, Jeremy Shepard. Jeremy?
Evening, Commissioners. It's a pleasure to introduce 2 new employees at the library today. The first one up to my left here is Kayla Kim. She was hired on January 11th as a Library Tech 1 in the Library Division. Most recently, she was also a part-time employee as a library clerk at the library. Prior to that, she was employed as a plant safety technician at Cortec, Kraft Heinz in Dover, Delaware. Kayla currently resides in Commissioner Sweeney's and Pepper's district. Kayla Kim.
Hi, I just want to say thank you for letting me serve in this position. Not only do I get to work in an environment that I have so much joy in, but I also get to work with a team that puts a smile on my face, even if you can't see it through the mask. So thank you.
Thank you. Any commissioners, Commissioner Sweeney, lives in your district and
I'd
mine?
like to say welcome aboard. It's a great place to work. Hillary is one of the best in the state, probably one of the best in the region, so welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard. And one more?
Yep, next up, Susan Lanyon. She was hired January 11th as a library tech in the library. Most recently, she was employed as a library clerk at the City of Dover Public Library. Prior to that, she's worked with the American Cancer Society and the American Diabetes Association. Susan currently resides in Commissioner Sweeney's and Pepper's district. Susan.
Good evening. I'm a Delaware girl, and as you can tell, I've been here a long, long time, and I'm from upstate, and my dream was always to live in Kent County. So as I drive through, learning my way around, I see all these beautiful fields, woods. I consider those my fields of dreams. And not only that have come true by being able to work and serve at the Kent County Public Library. There's a lot of great work going on there, and I am honored to be able to be a part of it. I thank you all for the opportunity, and most of all, I want to thank you for making Kent County such a lovely place to live. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Sweeney?
Thanks, Mr. President. Susan, welcome aboard. It's good to have you, and those are very kind words about Kent County, and I'm glad you stepped up to the varsity team. We appreciate it. Welcome aboard. Good luck.
Thank you so much, sir.
Hey, anyone else?
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. All right, tonight we have public hearings. First one is petition for conditional use approval. Commissioner Sweeney.
I see Ms. Kiefer's queued up and ready to go. Floor is yours, Sarah.
Thank you very much. Before we begin the hearings, just a word about how the hearings tonight will be conducted. This public hearing is being conducted for the purpose of giving the citizens of the county the opportunity to present testimony on the applications before the Levy Court. Everyone will have a chance to speak. All statements are to be made from the podium at the front of the room. For the record, please give your name and address. Copies of any written statements or exhibits used during the hearing should be presented for identification and inclusion in the record. And as stated earlier, if you are on the phone, please remember to press *1 in order to be recognized. For each application before the Levy Court, the President will introduce the application. The Levy Court will then receive testimony from all of those in favor. Testimony will then be received from those who may be opposed. After everyone has had an opportunity to speak, the hearing on the application will be closed, and the Levy Court will take what action it deems appropriate. Levy Court's decision will be based upon public hearing testimony given at this meeting and a recommendation submitted to the Levy Court by the Regional Planning Commission. I would ask that that recommendation be included by reference in the permanent record of this meeting established by the Clerk of the Peace. The public notice of this hearing was published in the January 8th, 2021 edition of the Delaware State News. The first application before the Levy Court as C-2101, it's a conditional use application for an accessory apartment. The site is just over an acre. It is 107 Stewart Drive within the subdivision of Penwood. It is zoned RS1, single-family residential. It is inside the growth zone. The Regional Planning Commission took testimony on this application at their January 7th hearing, and at their January 14th business meeting, voted unanimously to recommend conditional approval. You'll note in that report from the Planning Commission, they also recommended an additional condition that in the future, the accessory apartment cannot be rented. This is actually similar to an application Levy Court heard in December. So again, this comes with a recommendation for approval. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any commissioners have any questions? Seeing none, we'll open the public hearing and we'll ask any of those that are here that are in favor to please come forward and give testimony. Anyone in favor, please come forward.
Good afternoon. My name is Robert Clark. I'm the owner of 107 Stewart Drive.
Good evening, sir. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Proceed.
The whole point that we were moving to go forward this is for my parents. The in-law suite My mother had an aneurysm back in October and had surgery, and this is what we're moving forward with this AUD. So that's all.
Commissioner Sweeney.
Thanks, Mr. President. Mr. Clark, I was reading through the notes. This is not a constructed outbuilding. It's in the basement, correct?
It's not a basement. It's on my second floor. It's just a remodel in my current footprint in my house. There's no external walls. It's just a remodel. And I think what's kind of brought me here today is because I want to put a kitchen in there. So since we're remodeling it with an additional kitchen is why I'm here today.
So there was one person who came out in opposition, and they seemed to just have questions. Were you able to respond to all their questions?
I was. I mean, I live in the neighborhood, and it seems like a lot of the concerns that people have are the what ifs, like what happens if you leave, or along the lines, which I feel like the regional planning commission kind of addressed with the deed restriction not to rent it out, which isn't my intent anyway. So I felt like that was addressing some of the concerns that he had.
Yep. So the last question I had, there were some conditions, and you agreed all those conditions without any qualms.
Yes, sir. I mean,
Okay.
I'm perfectly fine. I'm not doing this to rent it. I don't want anybody else living in my house. I mean, this is mostly for my parents.
There was a letter from an attorney. Is that attorney representative of the homeowners association?
No, that's my attorney.
That's your attorney.
And my attorney.
Is there a homeowners association in existence?
There is.
Did they express any concerns?
No, none whatsoever. If you look at ironically, one of the letters that I guess you have to send a letter to the neighboring, one of the letters went to my HOA president. He brought it in front of the HOA, I guess, monthly meeting, and he wrote on that letter that the HOA has no conflict and it doesn't violate any deed restrictions.
No objections.
But my concern was, some people have perceptions. So to be safe, I, spoke with my attorney and had them interpret it, because my intent's not to be in violation of any deed restriction or any law. So I wanted to make sure that, I did conform to that. And, after his review, and that's the letter that's there, that it doesn't violate, any of the Kent County laws, and it's not violating my deed restriction.
Excellent. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Any other questions? Commissioner Buxton?
Pepper, I just want to, at the end of this, I would like to have a chance to talk to Ms. Kiefer before we close the hearing. That's all.
Sure. Any other commissioner questions? Okay, anyone else here in favor? Anyone else here in favor of application C21-01?
If we have any
Anyone
callers
online?
If we have any callers on the phone line and they want to speak, please press *1 and we'll bring you into the room. We're seeing no takers on that, Mr. President.
Okay. Anyone here in opposition to application C2101? Anyone here in opposition to application C2101?
Similarly, if you're on the phone line and you wish to speak in opposition to this application, press *1 and we can bring you into the room. Doesn't appear we have any callers.
Okay. Commissioner Buxton?
Ms. Kiefer, it's more in line. I'm familiar with the application. I've read the information. Is in the past, typically when it conflicts with a deed restriction, I stand strong with the deed restriction. However, there are times when it's not clear and present. There's also times when a lawyer presents a well-worded letter that enables you to enable versus disable. So I'm in favor of the application. I'm more curious, Ms. Kiefer, your thoughts on, this is 2 in a month. It certainly doesn't mean that we have an onslaught, but it could mean that we have potentially a look to see when there is no change at all in the character of the home, other than you're putting in the kicker, which is what, an oven?
Effectively, when it's a fully functional, fully outfitted dwelling, it's a separate dwelling. Usually the kitchen is what suggests it's going to be a separate dwelling unit.
And so that's because the comment made a month ago when we dealt with this was, picture your house, your home, doesn't change, you don't change anything. you put a kitchen in downstairs or upstairs, it's now considered an accessory
It's an accessory dwelling unit.
dwelling unit, right? Versus just a change to your residence. So is that is that our interpretation? Is that a code that we've attached to?
Yeah, I mean, the county has had for a number of years specific standards for an accessory dwelling unit, and it's meant to be an independent dwelling unit within another.
Right.
So if that's how it functions, that's what it is.
So tonight's not the place for it. It may not even be the place for it. But when I picture these things, what I picture is an addition to the home with an outside entrance, fully functioning, something you could market. Doesn't run logical to me that we're going to, maybe that we shouldn't necessarily be in the way of this situation in a home, in a residential home, where nothing else changes, as long as we can be more creative maybe in what is permitted. Can we strengthen up what is permitted and what isn't permitted to mean it cannot be marketed as an accessory apartment or an accessory dwelling interior to this home. It literally is a house with 2 kitchens. That's what we need to focus on, a house with 2 kitchens rather than an accessory dwelling that possibly could get marketed in that fashion when it certainly isn't. So you're not prepared to answer this. I'm not even prepared to articulate it well. I don't even know if I did. But that's maybe what we should, I don't know, look at.
What it sounds like you're describing, and I think it warrants further conversation outside of a public hearing, is sort of a third category. Rather than, because right now we have accessory apartments, which are within the principal dwelling. We have accessory cottages, which are generally part of an outbuilding on the lot, which can be rented. We've got no restriction on them. And a number of them are approved throughout the years without Levy Court seeing them. But what you seem to be describing as a third category, perhaps called a mother-in-law suite, and I think that warrants further discussion.
Because the second one that you referenced clearly comes with some exterior cosmetic changes and an alarm if it was my neighbor. And that's why some of those get approved, because we've made it administrative if there's no objection, but if there is, it comes through. Potentially this is one where we can make an adjustment. All right, we've said enough. Here's what I'm looking at. If anyone sort of agrees, maybe don't be afraid to jump in and maybe send an email. Again, recognizing this isn't an onslaught. It's just 2 in a month. It doesn't mean we have a wave of these things coming. So could we leave well enough alone? Certainly. Mr. Pettimaj?
Oh, I'm sorry, I was just cracking. But
I kept seeing your finger, and
I
I'm
was
like,
just getting nervous here. But no, I can appreciate the discussion. Some codes will further define what complete and separate means, and I don't think ours definitionally doesn't. But in this case, where there's internal communication in the building, in other words, there's really it's functioning as one household unit, not 2 separate and distinct household units. There's no demising wall between the units that separate them, that the people who occupy this space can move freely throughout. So I've seen some codes where that's where they make the distinction, complete and separate, where there's like one unit can stand alone, both units can stand alone separately, even though they're attached, versus this is like one house that just happens to have 2 kitchens. And we've had other situations where people have had, it's a house, and they also have a hobby, a baking hobby, and they want to have a second, like a hobby kitchen in the basement or like in a separate room. And, I think we've allowed that. So I think you're onto it, and I think Newcastle County has something similar to what you're talking about.
hearing it's open. We probably should go ahead and call the vote and get the applicant out of here, but now moving forward, at least it might help others. Anyway, thank you, Ms. Kiefer. And I apologize, I didn't give you a heads up that was coming. I find no fault with the applicant having to be brought forth today based on the rules we're under, so there's no issue there.
Any other commissioners have any questions before I close the public hearing? All right. Close the public hearing, turn it over to Commissioner Sweeney.
Thank you, sir. Move to approve application C-2101, application owner Robert D. Clark and Jamie C. Clark, based on the RPC conditional approval, along with the conditions of that approval, that the applicant shall comply with all conditions per Kent County Code subsection 205-397.6. The accessory apartment unit cannot be rented. Failure to comply with conditions of approval or applicable regulations can result in a revocation of any permits issued for this conditional use and a revocation of the conditional use itself. Also based on staff approval, no objection from the HOA, and the applicant has agreed to those conditions proposed by the RPC that were included in my motion.
Thank you, Mr.
Second motion.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Sweeney, second by Commissioner Angel. Roll call, please, Mr. Tanaka.
Mr. Angel?
Yes, reason stated by Commissioner Sweeney.
Mr. Buxton?
Yes, reasons stated in the fact that I believe the HOA, in their letter referencing that they reviewed it and that they are not convinced that this conflicts with the deed restriction, allows me comfort in saying yes, absolutely.
Mr. Hall, absent. Mr. Howell?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes, for reasons stated by both Commissioner Sweeney and Commissioner Buxton.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes, for my motion, and I'd like to add thanks to Commissioner Buxton for bringing this up for future consideration. These are one of those things that we just look for easing our residents through the process.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes, all reasons stated. Can we have a roll call, please? What you just did?
Mr. President, roll call reveals 6 yeas, 1 absent.
Thank you. Roll call reveals application C-2101 has been approved. Thank you, Mr. Clark. Next item is petition for conditional use requiring site plan approval. Commissioner Sweeney, back to you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ms. Kiefer?
Thank you. The next application before the Levy Court is CS-2101. It's a conditional use site plan for a drive-through coffee shop. The site is zoned BG, general business. It's located on the east side of Route 13, west side of Palmer Road, south of Voschel's Mill, Star Hill Road, just east of Camden. It is inside the growth zone. The Regional Planning Commission took testimony on the application at their January 7th hearing. At their January 14th business meeting, voted unanimously to recommend conditional approval. You'll notice in the RPC report, the applicant presented a slightly modified landscape plan as part of that public hearing. It should be noted that landscape plan is indeed compliant with the code provisions. And they also submitted architectural renderings. The Planning Commission's recommendation includes a recommendation that ultimately the building plans be in keeping with those architectural renderings. So again, this comes with a recommendation for approval. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Commissioner, questions? Seeing none, we'll open the public hearing on application CS-21-01 and ask anyone that is here tonight or on the phone to give reasons why this should be approved. Anyone here in favor? Anyone here in favor? Please come forward. Give your name and address and be sworn or affirmed, please.
My name is Steve Fortunato with Bowler Engineering out of Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. I'm here representing the developer Insight Real Estate.
Good evening, sir. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Proceed.
Am I able to use the... Thank you. I'm going to move to the site plan which can be shown here. So this project is, as Ms. Kiefer stated, we are proposing a coffee shop with a drive-through. The project is located on northbound Route 13, just outside of Dover, just east of Camden, south of Dover. It's actually just south of, this is the Waffle House parcel here. The land is currently vacant. We propose a 2,200 square foot building, coffee shop with the drive-through. The site currently is accessed by one shared entrance in this location here that currently serves only the Waffle House, but was intended as a shared entrance to access our parcel as well. We've had several communication over the past probably year now with DelDOT regarding that. This project does not require a TIS, and DelDOT has given us, we've had our pre-application with them, they have given us a preliminary approval on this entrance location. It will still be used as a shared access for both our parcel and the Waffle House. There's no changes to the Waffle House parcel proposed as part of this project at all, so that'll remain the same. We are also coordinating with Century Engineering. There's a big road project on Route 13 going on, so we've had a couple of meetings and have shared some design files on that as well. So we've taken a step there. This project is what you see, as Sarah mentioned, as Ms. Kiefer mentioned, it is code compliant. We propose 29 parking spaces. We currently propose a loading zone with the drive-through loop located in back. This project, we do agree with the RPC recommendation. They did mention one item where we will be held to the code requirement regarding signage, which was added in there to clarify some of the staff report items. So we agree with the RPC's recommendation. We would also like to, I can just point out, is that the landscape plan in here? Oh, it's not. Okay, so we did submit as part of the paper copy a revised landscape plan. As Ms. Kiefer also mentioned, it is code compliant. It was just after we submitted, we clarified a couple of unusual code areas regarding the required buffering. So we're essentially proposing to include a landscape buffer along most of the areas, which kind of conforms with the forested areas here, a landscape buffer along the south abutting the residential properties, a landscaped buffer in this area abutting this residence, and we proposed to eliminate the buffer that we had shown on this north property line. It was determined that was not required by code since we are adjacent to another commercial use, and that this drive-through is not considered a parking stall or parking drive-through, which is what the code specifies. I believe that's all. I'd like to open it up to the Levy Court Commissioners for any questions.
Any questions? Commissioner Sweeney?
Thank you, Mr. President. So, Mr. Fortunato, you have a lot of road frontage on Palmer Road. Is your landscape scheme also block off access to Palmer Road so nobody can cut through your grass to get out the back way?
Yes, so yes, we do. There is a planting requirement along Route 13, so there are several trees here with shrubbery located in between. There's no way you can
that's
drive.
on 13. What about on the Palmer Road side?
Correct. So here we do also have a number of landscape trees provided. We did include, I should mention, at the requirement of DelDOT, a pedestrian access through this area right here that also serves one of the commissioners requested that we provide like a fire access, not a vehicular, but pedestrian foot access to this area, and that proposed change that we've already incorporated in the plan served that as well.
And there were no complaints from that one homeowner or landowner there that is getting surrounded by your property?
No, there is an existing white vinyl fence that serves as the buffer along these two property lines that I think was installed per the previous owner of this parcel. And like I said, we are proposing to include a landscape buffer. This is going to be not developed. I think we'll have a stormwater pond down here, expanding this area a little bit, but this would just be a green landscaped area.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Commissioner Buxton?
I'm going to confirm that you answered that. So anything read or talked about in the original RPC meeting and then the approval process, all the terms that they presented, you now agree with, and you're good to roll. You're good to go with.
Correct.
All right, thanks.
Okay, any other questions? Seeing none? Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else here in favor of application CS 21-01? Anyone else here in favor? Anyone on the phone?
If we have any callers wish to speak on this application, please press star 1. We can bring you into the room. Mr. President.
Okay, seeing no one else here in favor, anyone in opposition? Anyone here in opposition?
Similarly, if you're on the line and you wish to speak in opposition to CS 2101, press star 1 on your phone and we'll bring you in. Seeing no takers, Mr. President.
Okay. Any further commissioner comments before we close the public hearing? Close the public hearing and turn it back over to Commissioner Sweeney.
Thank you, sir. Move to approve application CS-2101, drive-through restaurant at Camden, applicant owner Insight Real Estate Investment Properties LLC and 5M Investors LLC, based on the RPC conditional approval, which included conditions that the final plan must be approved within 24 months of preliminary plan approval and construction shall commence within 18 months of final plan approval. Any proposed signage must comply with provisions set forth in Chapter 205, subsection 236 of the Kent County Code. Landscaping shall include trees and shrubs that are both native and non-invasive to Delaware. The exterior of the building shall be keeping with the architectural renderings submitted by the applicant. Staff conditional approval, no public opposition, and this is in an excellent area to be developed in the Camden area.
Second the motion.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Sweeney, second by Commissioner Maston. A roll call, please.
Mr. Angel?
Yes, Commissioner Sweeney's comments?
Mr. Buxton?
Yes, reason stated.
Mr. Hall, absent. Mr. Howell?
Yes, reason stated.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes, reason stated.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes, per my motion.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes, reason stated.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 6 yeas, 1 absent.
The roll call reveals application CS-21-01 has been approved. Thank you. It's the public hearings. There's no old business. New business, Mrs. Maston.
I'd like to have the following ordinance read into the record. I would like to introduce ordinance LC 21-02, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of a Kent County general obligation bond in an amount not to exceed $1,640,000 for the plant-wide power backup project and authorizing all necessary actions in connection therewith for public hearing scheduled on Tuesday, February 9th, 2021 at 7 p.m.
Thank you, Mrs. Maston. You have number 2.
I'd like to have a motion to accept Edward Ide III, professional engineer, to the Building Code Review Committee.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Maston, second by Commissioner Sweeney for an appointment to the Building Code Review Committee. Roll call, please.
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Buxton?
Yes.
Mr. Hall, absent. Mr. Howell?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 6 yeas, 1 absent.
Thank you. Mr. Edward Ide III, PE, is now a member of the Building Code Review Committee. Next item, Commissioner Angel.
Thank you, Mr. President. Unfortunately, the gentleman that's in the Sewer Advisory Board, his wife is taking ill. He called me in December, and after I got his letter of resignation and talked with Diana and him, this resignation won't take place till February 4th. They still need him for the meeting on February 3rd. So this will be for replacement for February 4th. I move to appoint Edward Strauss to the Sewer Advisory Board as of February 4th.
Second.
Thank you. Motion to approve Edward Strauss for Sewer Advisory, and also a second. Ms. Tanaka, have roll call, please.
Yes. Mr. Angel,
Yes.
Mr. Buxton,
Yes.
Mr. Hall, absent. Mr. Howell,
Yes.
Mrs. Maston,
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney.
Yes.
Mr. Pepper,
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 6 yeas, 1 absent.
Thank you. Mr. Ed Strauss has been appointed to Sewer Advisory Board to be effective after the 4th of February. Next two items, Mr. Angel.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to go into executive session immediately following the business meeting for preliminary discussion on site acquisition for publicly funded capital improvement, legal strategy session regarding collective bargaining or pending or potential litigation, and personal matters pursuant to 29 Del Code 10004B2, 4, and 9.
Okay, you have a motion, need a second?
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Angel, second by Commissioner Sweeney. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Angel,
Yes.
Mr. Buxton,
Yes.
Mr. Hall, absent. Mr. Howell,
Yes.
Mrs. Maston,
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney,
Yes.
Mr. Pepper,
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 6 yeas, 1 absent.
Thank you. The motion for executive session after the meeting, following this meeting, have been approved. Item number 2.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to go into executive session immediately following the committee meetings of Tuesday, February 2nd, 2021 for preliminary discussion on site acquisition for publicly funded capital improvement, legal strategy sessions regarding collective bargaining or pending or potential litigation, and personnel matters pursuant to 29 Del Code 1004B2, 4, and 9.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Angel, second by Commissioner Maston. A roll call, please.
Mr. Angel,
Yes.
Mr. Buxton.
Yes.
Mr. Hall, absent. Mr. Howell,
Yes.
Mrs. Maston,
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney,
Yes.
Mr. Pepper,
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 6 yeas, 1 absent.
Thank you. Motion has been approved. Any information items? Commissioner Maston.
Just a reminder, the new sugar factory at Dover Downs is opening this week. If you want a private tour and lunch, I sent you all an email. But just as a reminder, follow up with Tony and he'll schedule you for a private showing.
Good deal. Commissioner Sweeney.
Thanks. There was a Food Bank of Delaware event this past Monday at the Dover Downs. It was supposed to start at 11 o'clock, but they had enough cars lined up earlier that they started early and ran out of food even almost before the event even started. I talked to Mr. Robinson, who is a liaison from Food Bank, and his response was, if folks need immediate assistance, they can dial 211 for the Delaware helpline, and they will direct them to a pantry close to where they live. Families in Kent County can also come directly to the Milford facility at 1040 Matlin Way in Milford and receive assistance there. So anybody if contacted you that said they didn't get food and they're upset about it, there are paths for them to go to get assistance during these tough times.
Thank you. Any other informational items? Any public comments?
We still have one person on the line. If they want to speak, press star 1 on your device and we can bring you into the room. Doesn't appear like they're interested.
Thank you. Any commissioner comments? Seeing none, need a motion to adjourn.
To executive, sir?
Into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second to go into executive session immediately following this meeting, and we will not be returning. Can I roll call, please?
Mr. Angel,
Yes.
Mr. Buxton,
Yes.
Mr. Hall, absent. Mr. Howell,
Yes.
Mrs. Maston,
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney,
Yes.
Mr. Pepper,
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 6 yeas, 1 absent.
Thank you. We are at the executive session.
conference recording has stopped.